something like that. Anyways, welcome back. This is how you know I mean business. I wrote everything down for today. Not a script, just what I want to talk about. Which is things that people should know or have done by age 18, definitely by age 21. And I know we've all heard certain things like, oh, you should, try to do your taxes by this time, or you should be waking yourself up with an alarm clock. That's a common one. Or at this point, you should be, doing your doctor's appointments by this age. And those are all really important, not to downplay any of those. So I have a couple ones that are like that, everyday advice that we've definitely all heard, but then have a few that I was thinking, I'm not sure if people have this on their mind. I don't hear a lot of people saying that you should do some of these things by age 18 or 21, so I thought I would put it out there for you guys. Before we do that, by the way, if you're a fan of lip oils but don't want to spend $40 on Dior, not saying this is a Dior dupe, but if you don't want to spend $40 on lip oil or a lip gloss, and you often use like a lip liner to go with it, or you use other lip products, so you don't want to spend an extra 20, 30, 40 on a lip oil, e.l.f. is for sure the way to go. This is jam session. It's a berry. My skin tone, I always go for a berry. So if you're watching this and you have my skin tone, just know, if you've ever wondered or hesitated, berry, anything will eat on you every time. But anyways, things that you should be doing by 18, definitely by 21. 1, cooking. And I've come across way too many, I hate to say it, boys who will say, oh yeah, I cook, and it's scrambling eggs or frying eggs or making toast. That's not cooking. But that's the point of this, is not to shame different styles of cooking. Actually, my main point is that you should not only be, able to cook each of your meals, but there are staples that you should have in your house at all times. It's 2025. We are having a recession. We are having all sorts of financial problems. This isn't new, but they're definitely worse for a lot of people right now, especially if you're young, and especially if you're a student or not, student or working or whatever, still living under your parents' house. It's a skill you should have by now. And some things that make it really easy. I'll give you one really quick, easy meal to demonstrate what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you should always have a protein of choice, raw, at least 5 vegetables, and a couple herbs and a sauce. And I will show you an example of what you can do with just that. Actually, I don't know if this is where it's going to go, but it's going to go somewhere in here. This part may even get edited out, but it's going to go somewhere. This meal,
start to finish, this only took 10 minutes to cook or throw together. This is more like a snack for me, but for you, it could be a meal. Just make more. I don't know.
I just saw it, or I just did a voiceover to reference it. This is sort of like a taco bowl. Maybe it's ground beef, cilantro, there's the herb, some vegetables. You can do corn, beans, cucumbers. I love tomatoes. Those go in everything for me. The sauce, it's a taco sauce, store made or hand make it. It's way cheaper in the long run. And some lime juice over it. So you've got like 4 or 5 fruits or vegetables. You got some herbs, and you have a sauce, and it's on a bed of tortilla chips. Your struggle meal should not be a peanut butter sandwich at this point. I don't care what you're doing. I know you have time to put some ground beef in a skillet. It will literally take 5 minutes for it to cook through to your desired doneness. Put some garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, paprika, and whatever else that you might have on hand. Salt, pepper. You've got something that is seasoned. It's got vegetables. It tastes good and is filling. So what I'm saying is, at this point, not only should you know how to cook, but you should always have these things on hand. You should always have vegetables and a protein, fresh vegetables and fresh protein, non-negotiable at this point. If you live in someone else's house and they do the cooking, that's great. Volunteer to do it every once in a while, just so you can get used to whipping up a quick meal if you've never had practice before. It'll save you a lot of money. There are a lot of people who think they're saving money by eating out, or there's a lot of people who feel like they just don't have time to cook, and they're probably right, because if you don't know how to cook, it's going to take way longer. So you should be cooking. Doing your laundry. I'm not going to spend long on this one. If you are currently 18 or under and you're watching this and your parents do your laundry, start doing it by yourself. I was doing my laundry by 7 years old. If you go to a laundromat and your parent or guardian or whoever normally takes everything to a laundromat, ask to accompany them if you can. There is no reason for you to get into your first apartment or your dorm or a living situation with somebody else and you don't already know how to do your laundry. That's gross. Reading fine print. Now we're getting into the things that I don't hear often as advice for this age group. At this point, you might not be dealing with a lot of things that have super high stakes, but even just read the fine print of, when you get a new phone, Apple or whatever you have will have these terms and conditions. Or when you get a gym membership, it has terms and conditions. When you sign up for things like a Netflix account, just practice reading those things, because having a basic familiarity with the language that they use will help you. Obviously, we know we're not going to scan through every time. We should, but let's be real. Who is doing that? Most people are not. So if you get familiar with reading the fine print of things that don't matter, the language is still consistent with things that do matter. So get used to taking the time to read your gym membership or your subscription, so you're seeing the language to look out for when time comes to do something that is important. And even upon a skim, you're able to pick out things that might be relevant to you. You don't want the first time you are presented with fine print to be when you're signing a lease or a deed or a loan or things like that. You should be used to reading that jargon. Another thing that might translate, reading the forewords to books. A lot of people skip those, or the afternote or the author's notes. Start reading those. Not that all that information is necessarily pertinent to you, but it will get your mind accustomed. A lot of people are in a habit of, this no longer interests me, so I'm not going to read it. And that will come back to bite you, I promise you. Get comfortable doing and reading things that are not interesting to you. So that way you're not overwhelmed if anyone ever tries to sit you down to read fine print or to go over something important. You don't want to be that person who's so mentally checked out in their day-to-day life that they can never check in when an important issue comes up. I see it way too often. So keep that in mind. This one, I couldn't decide if this was obvious or not, so I didn't know if I should say it, but have a hobby. Gosh. And I'm hoping, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I hope most people have heard this. I know I heard it a lot in elementary and high school. They're like, have a hobby that you can put on like your college resume because it'll look better for your applications. So hopefully that's something you've heard, but just know it doesn't only apply to college. You want to have a hobby for your own fulfillment. Let me paint a picture for you, because there are people who wake up every day and the only thing on their mind is to hang out with their friends. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love hanging out with my friends. I really do. But there are people who only live to hang out with their friends. Maybe you feel like you're in a small town and there's nothing to do, so how could you have a hobby? Or maybe you feel like all hobbies are expensive. Or maybe you just genuinely don't have anything interesting that you feel like is going on for yourself. I implore you, journaling is a hobby. Just writing down your own thoughts, that can turn into a hobby. Sometimes you don't even know what it can turn into. Maybe you just start writing down your thoughts daily, and maybe that becomes such an outlet for you. You start to think, wow, I do all this writing. It's kind of adjacent to poetry. And then bam, you find out you're good at writing poetry. Do something, because you don't want to be that person who wakes up and the only thing on their mind is hanging out with their friends. Because here's where that gets you. Where that gets you is, say you have a falling out with your friend, or all of your friends. It happens. I've seen entire friend groups disintegrate with like that. So now when you wake up, you're in a small town that doesn't have a lot of extra amenities going on. You don't live in a walkable town. So you wake up, you don't have any friends, so you can't go hang out with them in a Walmart parking lot. So then you get up, maybe you brush your teeth, maybe you don't. You probably don't even get up and shower because you don't have anything to do. Believe it or not, it's yucky, but most people who feel like they don't have anything to do that day, they don't get ready for the day. They don't brush their teeth, they don't wash their face, they don't change their clothes. If they have nothing outside to do, if they don't have other people entertaining them, they will not get ready. Don't be that person. Always get ready for the day. Have something to live for. Because if your friends go to crap, if your job goes to crap, if you are depressed, if you are anxious, if you are lonely, those thoughts inside your mind, they're going to kill you. They will literally kill you. You need to have a hobby for your own sake, not just to appear interesting to college, not just to appear interesting to a potential friend or romantic partner. It will be your salvation to find something outside of yourself that you can connect to. And often you will find yourself even more when you delve into something like that. Have a hobby. Hanging out with your friends, I've seen this on apps so much. They'll be like, hobbies? Oh, hanging out with my friends. That's not a hobby. It is a luxury and a privilege and a great thing to have friends. They're not your hobby. People are not your hobbies. People are not your entertainment. You need something that sits you down with yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's all you physically have is yourself. I promise you, you'll always have something to do if you can find a hobby. There should never be, I don't have anything to do. Have a hobby. It's good to be bored sometimes. It's good to do nothing sometimes. Have a hobby. Because I promise you, people who don't have hobbies, it's very obvious because they're always leeching on to you. You don't have anything to talk about. And I know I just said don't have hobbies just for the sake of being able to display them to other people, but they're very boring people. You need to have things that you can fill up your day with. On a day where I'm not going out with my friends or with my family, on days where I don't even open the front door to my house, I have 10,000 things to do. I have a whole bookshelf. I have this video right now. I have a junk journal. I have a normal, just a thought journal that I write down my thoughts. I have video games. I have tons of projects that I've started that I can finish. I like to make cards. I'm a visual artist. I like to make art. So all those things, excuse me. I might not do them. I probably don't. I don't do them as much as I should, but I can never say I don't have anything to do. If everyone canceled their plans with me for the next year, I would be fine. Think of it like that. Would you be fine if everyone stopped entertaining you for the next month? Or 5 months? Or 6 months? Or a year? Travel solo. Now, a lot of times, age 18 or 21 is the first time you're traveling solo. If you are able to, because I recognize how many barriers there are to this, I'm not going to get into them. I know them, you know them, you can trust that I know them, so don't worry about it. I know there are barriers. Anyways, if you can manage, travel solo before that time. Even if it's just in the adjacent town. find a way to get there by yourself, plan it, get there by yourself, spend the day by yourself, plan outings by yourself, like plan a museum, and then you go to brunch, and then you go to lunch, and then you see a play, or even if it's just walk to this park, visit this church, go to this next park. See all the parks in a city. Those are all free things. Get used to traveling solo. You do not want the first time traveling solo to be when you have to jump on a plane to get to a new school or a new job and you're already overwhelmed and you've never done it before. I think this one speaks for itself. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but travel solo, because it is very obvious when people are not used to traveling alone and you look like a target. This is especially for the girls. Practice going on dates by yourself alone. Practice going on solo day trips, staycations somewhere, or if you can, jump on a plane and go to maybe the next state, or, go visit a relative. It doesn't have to be like you're alone the entire time, but make the trip by yourself. If you have an aunt in Nebraska and you live in Ohio, go visit your aunt. She'll be there waiting for you to make sure you get there safely, but you're taking that trip by yourself, and that's important because there's a lot of stressors that come up. Forgetting your boarding pass, forgetting your passport. Do you have real ID yet? Do you know how much the train costs? Do you know the difference between north and south? What's going north? Are you going, I live in New York City. Am I going uptown or downtown? Those are things that you need to get used to figuring out before you have to do it by yourself. There's going to be a time when your aunt in Nebraska is not waiting for you. So that whole trip, no one's going to be making sure that you've gotten there safely. So you need to know how to travel safely. Start doing it little by little. Saying no with no explanation. It was a hard time for me to get out of the habit of explaining no to people. Whether it be a partner, whether it be a supervisor, whether it be a professor. You do not have to explain every time you say no. You will learn when it is most courteous to provide an explanation, and you will learn when it is most in your benefit to provide an explanation, but trust, not everything needs an explanation. I remember one time a guy really wanted me to be his girlfriend, and he wouldn't accept my explanation for saying no. So until I could figure out the best way to explain my no to him, I agreed in the meantime to be his girlfriend. It lasted, I think, less than 24 hours because I looked at myself, I'm like, what am I doing? I know I don't see myself in a relationship with this man ever, so why would I say that? Just to give myself time to come up with an explanation to appease him? Absolutely not. So normalize not explaining no. I'll give you a concrete example, like verbatim. One of the things that didn't work out in that situation, he was just really conservative for me personally, especially like as far as religion goes. And so one of the things was like, hey, like you want me to meet your parents who are also really conservative in this religion. You do things in your daily life that don't, align with, and your political beliefs don't align with mine. And in this case, I can't overlook it. So that's the reason for my no. I gave a concrete reason for my no, and he turned around and said, oh no, those are things we can fix. Thus, in his mind, eradicating my entire reason for saying no. He thought he could fix it. He thought he found a way around it. So the lesson there is, do not give people the chance to talk you out of your no. If they want you to say yes, they will find a way for you to say yes. So if you know the outcome is no for you, don't even explain, because the second you start explaining, they're going to find solutions so that it goes in their favor. So just don't explain. Don't explain your no. You don't have to. If people don't like you for it, they're weak people, honestly. Or they're people who were not going to give you what you wanted in the first place. if a supervisor looks at you crazy for not explaining your no, but you know that your no was completely justified. No, I can't come into work today. Maybe your reason is because your aunt died, but because she's not your immediate family member, maybe they're not going to let you use your paid time off. But if that is really something to the core of yourself that you say no for, that it's a legit reason, and they're going to want to fire you because of that, guess what? That employer never cared about you in the first place. So that let you know right there, you do not need to be in that space. That was not the correct opportunity for you. Not explaining your no will always show you who and what is aligned with your values and what is not. And why would you ever want to be somewhere that is not aligned with your values? So quick and easy. Just say no and drop it. Honorable mentions, I have 2. 1, actually no. It's only 1 honorable mention. And this video is getting kind of long, so I'm just going to keep it at 1. I could think of another one. No. Honorable mention. This is something I've definitely never heard. Not saying it's not out there, but I've never heard anyone speak on it, so I definitely want to say this. Have at least one curated online space to be on. And what I mean by curated is, you know, in a sense, you could say that any platform that you're on is curated. You know, the way the algorithm works is it's based off of the accounts that we follow and what we like and what we spend the most time on. So in that sense, yeah, your TikTok or Instagram might be curated to what you like, quotation marks like. But for most people, they've got a lot going on. You know, I like a lot of memes. I do. I go down the meme rabbit hole. But so my Instagram, my main one, what it looks like is I've got memes. I've got really rancid memes in my feed. But I'm also a person who likes to follow people who are very fit and offering fitness advice. So right next to the rancid memes, I've got fitness memes or fitness accounts. And then I've also got self-help accounts, and I've also got gurus, and I've also got poetry, and I've also got animals, and I've also got my friends. All those things is such a major distraction. That's why social media is such a distraction, because it makes you feel like you need to be tuned into all of these things at the same time. And it's actually very harmful. So if I'm not saying don't get on social media, what I'm saying is when you need to scratch that social media itch, but you know, I know right now, if you see my block list on Instagram, it's crazy. And like my hidden words and topics that I don't want to see, right now, there are honestly like 2 or 3 things that would be really triggering for me to open my Instagram account right now and see. But if I open that main uncurated free-for-all Instagram account right now, probably I'm going to see it. So I have a safe online space that I can go to when I still feel like being on my phone, when I feel like scrolling, when I feel like being on social media. I have curated online spaces that I can go to scratch that itch without subjecting myself to the entire world. I also have news on that, and we all know how terrible the news is right now. By 18 and 21, you need to know how to self-regulate. That's what this comes down to at the end of the day. You, by 18 and 21, you should know what triggers you, and you should know how to step away from that. In this digital age, you should have an online space, because I know where most of us are all online in some way, shape, or form all the time. Have an online space that you treat as a sacred space, where if you still want to scroll, great. But maybe that scrolling is only animals and like cute things and like people junk journaling and like fairies and people sharing their OC, their wholesome OCs, and I don't know, but something like that. You should have a safe space online, because so many people are complaining about, oh, you open online and you're just filled with the doom and gloom of like the news and what. It doesn't have to be like that. If no one's ever told you, you do not have to see the news on social media. You do not have to see certain memes on social media. You do not. I'm guilty of saying, man, I'm tired of opening my phone and seeing women getting dogged on. I'm tired of opening my phone and seeing black women getting dragged on social media. I'm tired of it. I would always say that. I hate opening my phone and seeing that. And guess what? Now I don't. Because now I can open my phone, go to a certain app or an Instagram page that is not my main one, and I will never have to see anything like that. They don't want you to think, when you see these targeted ads and you see these suggested reels and like you can only snooze them for 30 days, they're trying to make you think that you don't have control over your feed. That you don't have control over your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok just because Big Meta controls it or whatever. You do not. It's a lie. You have control over it. It might take some work, but if you really protecting your peace on the internet is the same as protecting it in real life. You can do it. And I don't know if people know that. So to be a functioning adult, every time you open your phone, you should not automatically be seeing news, memes, cooking, self-help, gym, Instagram baddies, Andrew Tate, books. We were not meant to be bombarded with all this all the time. And if you don't know this as an adult by now, you're dysfunctional. I guarantee you're dysfunctional. And it might not be getting clocked by other people because they're dysfunctional too. Everyone is walking around here dysfunctional and dysregulated. So when you step away from that, you will realize how many people are walking around, always have to be on their phone. The first instinct, muscle memory, they're opening Instagram. You should not be doing that by this age. And if you must be online, you need to have a safe space. It's like having a savings account. Maybe that's not the best analogy, but it's like, yeah, you can get through life only spending from your checking account and never setting anything aside. In fact, that's how most people do it. But I think we can all objectively see how having some money saved away is helpful. So it's the same thing with this. Yeah, you could just go, it's probably hasn't hurt you too bad by your perception, just having one Instagram page where you see everything all the time. You're probably functioning just fine, enough to do what you want to do in life. But remember, the smartest adults, the ones with the most security, have a savings account. They have a safe space on the internet that they can go to that is not as stimulating and protects their peace. It doesn't have to be a separate Instagram account. It could be a nice little game. It could be a Pinterest account that has like nail inspo and Hello Kitty, but you need to have an online safe space. And I'll leave it at that. Maybe I'll develop that idea because, like I said, I really don't hear people saying that on the internet, and I think it's really important. Things by 18, 21, cook, laundry, start reading fine print, have a hobby, travel solo, and have a safe space on the internet. I hope that helps even anybody if they've never thought of one of those things before. So, you know what? I actually haven't said this on any of my other videos, but as I've been seeing more people tune in, please subscribe. If you have subscribed and you're watching this, thank you. I'm still trying to find a passion for this, so it would help a lot if you guys would comment, like, or dislike, but definitely comment or subscribe, things you want to see, things you don't want to see, things you're interested in. Yeah. So thank you.